Welcome to the deep dive. You've shared some really interesting material on hibiscus tea, and this one headline, wow, it really jumped out. One captivating cup of red hibiscus can turn back your health clock.
Hmm.
I mean, for anyone in their 50s or 60s maybe noticing things or sticking around the middle a bit more or just wanting a health boost, that sounds pretty appealing.
It really does. It's a strong claim.
So that's our mission today. We're going to dive into what your sources say about hibiscus tea. The potential for weight management, other health benefits for midlife, but also, really importantly, the things you need to watch out for.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is how the sources specifically frame this for that 50s and 60s demographic. There's a clear recognition that weight and health concerns often, well, they become more front of mind around then.
Right.
So looking into whether something simple like a cup of tea could genuinely help. Yeah, that's definitely worth exploring.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Weight management. Your sources suggest hibiscus isn't just, a nice red tea. It might actually give a helping hand with health and diet, especially managing weight in midlife.
Mm-hmm.
There's mention of a compound, HCA. What's that about?
Right. So HCA, that stands for hydroxycitric acid. The idea presented in the sources is that it might interfere, might get in the way of the body turning carbohydrates into fat.
Get in the way. How so?
Well, think of it like this. You consume carbs, your body uses what it needs for energy, and then there's a process to store the excess as fat. HCA might sort of interrupt that storage pathway.
Ah, okay, so potentially less fat storage from carbs.
Potentially, yes.
Right.
But, and this is really crucial, the sources are clear on this, it's not a magic wand. It's suggested to work best with healthy eating and exercise. Think of it as a potential supporting player, not the star of the show.
A supporting player.
Yeah.
Right, alongside the fundamentals. That makes sense. Okay, another big claim was about hibiscus being an elixir of youth, powerful antioxidants. That sounds promising.
It does, doesn't it? That vibrant red color. It comes from anthocyanins, and yes, these are known to be pretty potent antioxidants.
So how do antioxidants work again, just quickly?
Basically, our bodies naturally produce these unstable things called free radicals. Think of them like tiny troublemakers causing damage to cells, which contributes to aging and, well, other issues.
Okay.
Antioxidants, like these anthocyanins, step in and sort of neutralize them, disarm them, you could say.
Right.
And the sources suggest this might not just be about, slowing down visible aging, but could also mean better skin health, maybe a stronger immune system too, things that definitely matter more as we get older.
So it's deeper than just wrinkles. It was about resilience. I like that. The sources also called it a vessel cleanser. That sounds good for heart health. Talk about that.
Yeah, vessel cleanser is quite evocative, isn't it? Looking at cardiovascular health, the information suggests hibiscus might help lower LDL cholesterol, that's the bad kind,
Good.
and it might also improve blood circulation. So if you put those together, it points towards protecting your blood vessels, keeping things flowing smoothly, which is obviously critical for long-term heart health.
Definitely. And what about feeling, bloated or puffy? Sometimes you just feel weighed down. The sources mentioned a diuretic effect.
Exactly. Hibiscus seems to have diuretic properties, meaning it can help your body flush out excess sodium and water, maybe some waste products too. This can lead to feeling, well, lighter, less puffy. It's mostly about fluid balance, though, not necessarily direct fat loss on its own, but that feeling of lightness can be a real positive.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, and energy levels. That mid-afternoon slump is real for many of us. Do the sources say anything about hibiscus helping with metabolism or fatigue?
They do. They mention organic acids in hibiscus. These acids are thought to play a role in supporting healthy metabolic function, the processes that generate energy. So the potential benefit is maybe some relief from fatigue, perhaps a bit more sustained energy, which could be really helpful, especially if you're trying to stick to a diet or just feeling generally sluggish.
Okay, so we've covered some really positive potential aspects, but it's not all sunshine and roses, is it? Your sources also spend quite a bit of time on warnings, side effects, things to be careful about.
Absolutely crucial. You can't just look at the potential upsides. Responsible use is key. One thing mentioned is stomach issues. Because it's quite acidic, drinking too much could lead to discomfort, maybe stomach pain, or even diarrhea for some people.
Right, that acidity, is that why they suggest a limit, like 2-3 cups a day?
That seems to be the general recommendation from the sources, yes. To minimize the risk of things like heartburn or that stomach upset, moderation is definitely advised.
Okay, and there was a specific warning about blood pressure.
Yes. Hibiscus has shown potential to lower blood pressure. So if your blood pressure is already low, or if you're on medication to lower it, drinking hibiscus tea could potentially drop it too far.
Making you feel dizzy, maybe.
Exactly. Lightheadedness, dizziness. Something to be very mindful of if low blood pressure is a factor for you.
And even stronger warnings for pregnancy and breastfeeding, right?
Yeah.
Consulting a doctor is essential.
Absolutely essential. Non-negotiable, really. The sources raise concerns about potential effects on uterine contractions or possibly hormone levels.
Yeah.
So definitely a case where medical advice is needed before even considering it.
Okay, and that leads to another critical point. Interactions with medications,
Yeah.
especially blood pressure or diabetes drugs.
Yes, this is incredibly important. Hibiscus can interact with certain medications. It might amplify the effect of blood pressure drugs, like we just discussed, leading to hypotension.
Right.
And there could be similar interactions with diabetes medications, potentially affecting blood sugar levels.
Yeah.
So the clear message from the sources is, if you're on any regular medication, talk to your doctor first, period.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There was also a little note, quite thoughtful actually, for people who tend to feel cold easily. Something about hibiscus being cooling.
That's right. In some traditional views, hibiscus is considered to have a cooling nature, energetically speaking. So if you're someone who's often chilly, the advice is maybe drink it warm, and perhaps in smaller quantities, just to see how you feel.
Okay, so it seems the big takeaway on precautions is know your own body, be aware of your health conditions, check about medications, and don't overdo it. Stick to moderation.
That sums it up nicely. Awareness and moderation.
Right. Now, let's shift to the fun part. How to actually enjoy this tea. It sounds like it doesn't have to be just plain hot tea.
Not at all. The sources have some nice ideas. Of course, there's the classic hot brew. Just steep a tea bag or some loose leaves in hot water for, say, 3 to 5 minutes. Simple. Maybe a tiny bit of honey if you like it sweeter.
Okay, standard. But the cold brew idea sounded really good. Steeping it in cold water or even sparkling water in the fridge.
Yeah, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? For maybe 2 hours or more, you get a different, maybe smoother flavor profile that way. And the idea of adding things like lemon slices or some berries while it steeps, very refreshing, especially in warmer weather.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
Mixing it with other things, like other fruits or herbs.
Yes, creating your own blends. The sources suggest things like adding apple pieces or orange peel, or maybe other herbs known for their benefits, like rosehip or even peppermint for a different twist. It's a great way to customize the taste.
And the most surprising one for me, using it in cooking, like a syrup or a salad dressing.
It's quite creative, isn't it? Because hibiscus has that tart, almost cranberry-like flavor. It can work in both sweet and savory contexts. A hibiscus syrup could be great on yogurt or pancakes, maybe in cocktails.
Oh, interesting.
And a vinaigrette. Whisking some strong brewed, cooled hibiscus tea with olive oil, maybe a little mustard and honey, that could add a really unique, tangy kick to a salad.
Wow, okay. Lots of possibilities there. So let's just quickly recap. According to the sources you looked at, hibiscus tea shows some interesting potential, especially for those of us navigating midlife. Potential help with weight management through HCA, a good hit of antioxidants fighting those free radicals, possible benefits for heart health, cholesterol circulation.
Right, and also the diuretic effect for reducing puffiness, that may be a little boost for energy and metabolism.
But balanced against that are the important precautions. Watching out for stomach upset, the blood pressure lowering effect.
Definitely. And the absolute need for caution and doctor consultation during pregnancy, breastfeeding, or if you're taking medications, moderation is key.
Got it. So it sounds like if used wisely and you're aware of the potential downsides, hibiscus tea could be a pleasant and potentially helpful addition to a healthy routine.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not a magic cure-all, but perhaps one small, enjoyable tool in the larger toolkit for self-care as we age.
A tool in the toolkit. I like that. It feels like exploring things like this, like hibiscus tea, is part of embracing a more vibrant midlife, right? Through that kind of consistent self-care.
Precisely. And thinking about hibiscus and its potential kind of opens up a broader question, doesn't it? Something for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Wow.
Yeah. Beyond tea, what other everyday natural elements, things maybe we overlook, might hold surprising benefits for our well-being as we navigate the stage of life? What else is out there waiting to be rediscovered?